Fantastic. Hi, everybody. It's George Knight in beautiful, warm Melbourne, Tony. Lovely down here. And it's snowing. Anyway, welcome, everybody, to this is the first recruiting masterclass for the month of June. And if you're taking notes, just get really clear. This is the, we've got now 2 years and 1 month to go to complete this current project, this lifestyle management project that we started a year ago, 11 months ago. And the concept of the recruiting masterclass is to upskill all of us, those who've been around for a little while and those who've been around for a long while, to really upskill all of us in helping us attract more people to our particular business who have an intent to create either an active income or a lifestyle income or both. And tonight we have a couple of special people, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. But over the course of the next month, as you can see next week, we've got a panel, a recruiting panel that's really going into the nuts and bolts of what people are doing to attract distributors. Then we've got this, that's me, where I'm going to be talking about working locally and thinking globally, how to build a business right here in Melbourne or wherever you are and springboard it into other markets. Then we've got a Founders Circle member, a good friend of ours, Emiko Andre, who has got business all around the world. Founders Circle means that she has, I think she's got 12 now, 12 different, what we call President's Team organizations. And she's going to be sharing with us exactly what she's done to attract each of those people. And then the final one for the month of June, it's really the principles of recruiting up, meaning how do you attract to your business really those leaders, the people that can drive business, almost like what I call the conductors of the orchestra instead of the actual people in the orchestra, or a combination of both. And so Leigh and Amy are going to walk us through some stuff now, but following that, and I really stress this, while you're listening to Leigh and Amy, think about who you might be able to call in those few minutes between the time that Leigh and Amy finish and our actual showcase. Because in our showcase, oh, look at that, in our showcase, we're already on to the next event before we get to the event. In our showcase, we've got Silka and Morgan doing a particular showcase, which we do on a Thursday night, which is really addressing and talking to the friends and our family. And that's going to be straight after this recruiting masterclass. I'm really excited about these guys coming on tonight. I'm excited because I was there right in the beginning of their journey all those years ago. And I remember Leigh walked into my office and he had a singlet on, a pair of stubbies. And I won't tell you what he looked like. I think he had a pair of thongs on and he walked in larger than life. And I got to tell you, you just wanted to hug him or throw him out. I never worked it out. So I think I just hugged him anyway. But the growth that these guys have experienced individually and as a unit has been, in my eyes, extraordinary. Growth as people, no question about that. You know, they are brilliant students. They are the people that they learn, they do, they apply and move on and then teach. So, and individually they've been extraordinary, but as a unit, they've built a very strong business incorporating all the methods of growing this business. And in particular, the last few months, they've really started to, if I said, get right back to the basics, the fundamentals which Mark Hughes has taught us and upon which this business has been built all around the world. And I know that you're going to get a lot of good ideas. So strongly suggest pen and paper, take lots of notes, lots of attention. Chat is open. And so if you've got some questions, ask Leigh the easy questions and ask Amy the hard questions. That'll work out pretty good. But anyway, that's enough for me, guys. Thank you very much for being with us. Over to you, Leigh and Amy. Thank you.
Thanks, G. Thank you so much.
Thank you, George. I actually thought the same when I met Leigh. I wanted to either hug him or kick him out. I chose to hug him. So now he's my husband. So thanks for having us.
Kicked out once.
No, we're excited to be here.
Yes, we are. And as George said, you know, it really, we never take these opportunities lightly, purely because we know that everyone takes time out of their day. They put resources aside. So Amy and I, we've done our best to prepare what we did in the beginning, what we did to get to the mill team, and what we're doing to not only just set up our president's team and qualified president's team, but set up the foundations for 20K over the next couple of years. So strap in, you've got us for about 35 more minutes. And tonight's going to be broken down into 3 parts. First part, we're going to talk about the philosophies around prospecting and recruiting, because it is a philosophy, but more importantly, there's an attitude aspect that's connected to it, which makes it all work. We're going to talk about our past examples, as I shared, in terms of how we brought in our current organization, and then what we're doing now to bring in the next phase of our leadership group and the next group that we're going to be working with towards the global expansion team.
And I just want to say a huge thank you, because the art of prospecting, we're continuing to learn this skill and refine our skills in this area. But George really introduced us to that. Coming down to the Melbourne Lifestyle Centre was where we were exposed to this philosophy. So it's not our stuff, but we're continuing to go back on those notes and apply it in today's reality as best we can. So we haven't let go of that thinking. Surely, like, life happens in between, absolutely, but it all comes back down to these fundamentals for us in terms of growing the next pin in our organization. It's finding that next person to add to our organization that's going to grow and build for their goals. So we'll kick it off with some philosophy. And George said to us from the very beginning, and many of you would have possibly heard this, but what is prospecting? It's simply seeing enough of the right people at the right time with the time to share your message. And that was shared to us, that statement, and that is, we broke that down into the individual components. What is enough? And I guess that led Leigh and I to sit down and go, well, how much have we got in us? What's our level of desire, our drive? And you get to really decide on that based on your personal goals, where you're headed, and how hungry you are to get there. So enough, there are no limits. You can do as much as you want in a compressed amount of time. And in particular, when we were building to Mill Team, we basically created a narrow focus to eliminate all distractions, to talk to as many people as we possibly could in the shortest amount of time possible. And there is power in that. It's kind of like, if you've got a dripping tap, it's really annoying, but you just kind of want to turn it on and let it flood. Or if someone's in the audience of a crowd and they're trying to open a protein bar really slowly and you're like, would you just rip it open and get it done? So George talks about it like a slow wax, ladies. I'm not going to go there, but I just did. But we were more about, all right, 3 to 5 years, how much can we do? How much can we sacrifice to actually bring in as many people as we possibly can to then grow an organization? And when you do it when you think of what is enough and you think big in that area, high numbers, you can actually overcome some of the limitations, not all. We still get faced with rejection and it hurts every time. But when you're dealing with enough people, it doesn't hurt as much. Because if you've only got one and that one says yes or no, you're hanging emotionally on that one. It's like, yes, they said yes. And you celebrate that. Or no, they said no, and you're like crushed. But if you've got 10, 15 or 20 people in your pipeline and that's growing, you're not getting hung up on the ones and twos because you've got more people. So when you think about enough, I really encourage you all to do what we did and what we're doing now and just think abundantly in that area. The right people, well, that really comes down to, do you want to expand on the right person, like who you're looking for?
Yeah, sure. So the right person, and again, this is just our personal experience. So don't take this as the Bible or gospel. This is just our personal experience. So the right people, that's defined by who you choose that you want to work with. Because in traditional business, you have to work with people that you have to work with because you don't get a choice. In this business, your choice, your terms, because you're selective of who you want to be working with. For me, personally, I don't like working with overweight, lazy people. I very much dislike working anywhere near those sorts of people, purely because when they start either getting in shape or progressing in business or life, they then start to sabotage themselves anyway and go back to who they were prior. So therefore, you've lost so much time frame. So for me personally, I like to work with people that are already in shape, they're already active, they're already moving, and they're progressive and they've got a good attitude. And they're the characteristics of people that I choose to associate with out in the marketplace, because when they get involved into the business, their attitude and their self-image is already up. So that it just makes sense that if they're a global expansion team member perspective in the marketplace, when they come into the business, they're going to operate like that anyway. if they're running a corporation or they're running traditional businesses out there in the marketplace, they're already conditioned to do the work, so that when they come into this business, that mindset is already in them. It doesn't need to be trained. So for me personally, I like to work with people that have got a great attitude. They're already fit, they're already active, and they're progressive with a good attitude.
Yeah, and it really does come down to that person's qualities that they present, I guess, at the time. But I want to share this. I heard someone say, she was not involved in our business, but she said, not everybody is a prospect. Now, that might be true in a traditional business when you're chasing a transaction. And I thought it was really interesting, because the best thing about our business is absolutely everybody is a prospect, because even though that person that you're prospecting, getting to know, may not be the person that gives this a go and starts this business, they can lead you to the people that could. It's the who do you know. So it's interesting, in traditional business, you can be limiting in the fact that where you're looking for like one person to say yes, but with our business, you can actually appreciate everyone as a prospect and work past them to who they know. And our business reflects that. I know George's business reflects that, and all the Herbalife businesses that have built strong royalty incomes reflect that, because it's the depth and the width at the same time. So definitely knowing that absolutely everyone is a prospect. And then the timing. And this is really, obviously you can set your own timing based on your own efforts and your own attitude, but you can't control somebody else's timing. So it's seeing enough people at the right time with time to share your message. And that's the last part there, being very clear on what you're actually saying to people. You know, if you're out there, and I know I got caught up with this, saying, you know, I'm looking for some clients, I'm looking for some people to get in shape. That's fantastic. I'll find that, because you've got to be really careful what you're looking for. But when we reflected on our goals, when I was a supervisor, our goal was to get to the president's team, and that required an organization. It required multiple people out there looking to build a royalty income. So the message needed to reflect that, or allow room for those types of people to fall into that message. So we really had to get our message clear in the beginning. Our message was simple. We were building an organization in Keilor, and we were looking for people to join us on the Healthy Active Lifestyle project back then, people that were interested in helping others, earning an income. Some were going to get involved part-time, some on more a career level basis, but our message allowed them to come in with curiosity for all of it. And then the right people presented themselves based on their goals and what they saw in the open house or the presentation. So where it all begins, we'll go through building your list.
Can I share one thing on the message part?
Of course.
Quick thing on this, sharing your message or understanding your message. If you don't have, it's really funny, because in the beginning we'd be like, what do we say? Who's ever felt like that? I don't know what to say. Like if someone says, what do you do? Oh, you sort of freeze, or I don't know. The best thing to share, the best thing to say is exactly what you're doing, because it's really simple, because it should roll off the tongue, because that's your attitude. So whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you do actually is a reflection of your attitude. Therefore, you'll actually share that with your prospects and manifest them into your business. Really simple.
Awesome. I'm going to move on to this one.
Yep.
Awesome. So building our lists. This is a daily method of operation, adding new names, new contacts to your database, to your business every single day. This is the lifeblood of our business. So every single day, our intention is to add new names that we haven't yet approached about the business opportunity to our list. Simple as that. And there's really only two types of people that you'll add to the list: people that you currently know, and there's people that you're getting to know. I don't like saying I don't know them, because it kind of creates like a bit brick wall and a fear-based sort of like, oh, I don't know them, you know, don't talk to strangers, all those limiting beliefs pop up, but I'm getting to know someone. So it's a limitless skill, I guess, action step that if you're not doing it daily, you're cutting off the lifeblood of your business. You're not growing your business. New people on your list every single day. Who am I going to meet today? Who am I adding to my list today? And where to find them? We started with Circle of Influence, and we're still working Circle of Influence now. It's never ends, because there's circles upon circles upon circles, and you've met new people, and it
Guys,
just keeps growing.
There is people everywhere. And you're walking past them all day, every day. There is people everywhere. There is more people being born than dying. So there is a never-ending list of prospects.
Yeah.
Even, I guess you can't sign up little like infants, but my attitude is they will become a prospect at some point.
New babies are being born every day. But basically everyone is a prospect. So it really is about your intention. So circle of influence, they're in your phone, they're on your social media, they're on your Instagram, they're everywhere. It's not prejudging them. You're building a list. And at some point, you'll find a way to connect and engage with them. It doesn't mean you go and herba vomit on your list and DM everybody with a standard script. Don't do that. But you've got people there to talk to and start the process of prospecting. And when you start the process of prospecting, you're building some foundational momentum. Maybe in the first week, you don't see any results, but you're starting some great conversations. I'm just using a rough time frame here. Week 2, those conversations progress to some catch-ups, some face-to-face meetings, chances for you to share your story, share your message whilst you're still doing the new conversations. And then it compounds and compounds and compounds before you're starting to get some yeses and some nos. And that's the momentum you want to sort of hold. You don't want to lose that every single day. I'm either getting yeses or I'm getting nos, because every day I'm adding new names to my list and I'm talking to my list every single day. So we pick up contacts everywhere, at the gym, at the shops, out and about, wherever we go, we are collecting contacts from just simple engagement. Our social media, anyone that likes, comments, engages on any capacity is going on our list, because we don't know who they are. Our circle of influence, as I shared, our referrals, through our nutrition club, people that walk in, we're not thinking about serving them a great smoothie. Although they get a smoothie, we're thinking who they are and we're prospecting them. You know, back in the day when we were running Fit Club, we weren't thinking about hosting a brilliant workout for our people that were attending. Although they got a great workout, we were thinking about who was showing up, who were they, and we were getting to know them as prospects, people that could be potentially joining our organization. So our focus, even in the methodologies of this business, have always been looking for people to join our organization to grow the team. And you end up collecting a bit of everyone. You'll get some fans, people that just love to hang around, people that love the products, that become your lifetime clients. We love and nurture those, but we're always focused as well on who are those key people coming through that will actually join the organization for their own goals. So lots of different things. I personally get out there and I network with local businesses. It's my way to get in front of people I don't know yet. It's a way for me to build my audience. And Leigh does a lot of local business pop-ins as well. He introduces himself to people. So we do it with people we don't know yet, and we're doing it with people that we know. So that concept makes sense, I know, to everyone on this call. But how much you decide to do it every single day, that's got to come back down to your level of desire, your goals, and your level of effort. Yeah. So,
and our attitude is that every single person out there is living in a silent state of desperation, particularly now. They are living in a silent state of desperation and they're smiling, but they're not really happy on the inside. That's our personal belief. So that if we could show them how to generate income and get in shape at the same time, to the tune of $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month, to spark up something on the inside of them, and then you come from that space of contribution and adding value to their life via our product and marketing plan, when you're actually in the market and you're talking to people and you're understanding who they are, what they are, where they're at, where they want to go, and you understand that there's a level of discomfort there. For me personally, I feel compelled to connect that individual to some stories so that we could potentially solve their problems with our business or product, one or the other, or a combination of both. So our attitude is, when we're out there, it's our responsibility to do that. It's not our responsibility to have a fear of rejection, even though that's a real thing, because every day, if you're not facing rejection, you're not growing as a person. And just with rejection, they're not rejecting you. What they're saying no to is the progression with their health or the progression with their finances via the business. So they're saying no to an opportunity. They're not saying no to you personally. So the lesson in that is don't take the yeses or the no personally. Become, I guess, emotionally neutral around all the things that happen externally from you in the progression of this business, so that your emotions are going up, it's working. And then you get a no, oh my God, it's not working. This business doesn't work. And you can reduce that emotional response to progressing through the marketing plan.
Yeah. And we had to be really careful with that at home as well. If Leigh would come home and say, hey, this is who I've spoken to today. These are my, like, how great's this? And we would celebrate it, but not from a place of, oh, we've made it. Like, it's all neutral. It's like, great, who's next? Like, we're just in flow. We're actually tracking the wins by our effort, not by the outcome. So we're letting go of that outcome altogether, I guess, because at the end of the day, even someone that says yes, they've got to get registered on the products, do their goals, put a business plan in place. If you're holding on to all of that coming to fruition, a lot of energy is taken away from the next prospect you're welcoming into your business. So it's not up to you. They follow the process. Our job is to bring them in, show them the opportunity, let them make a decision and work based on their behaviors, not what we want for them. So letting go of that outcome for sure. All right. So going back to how we built our business to Mill, we're going to share some examples of the prospecting element of it, which is the part that we feel we can take credit for. You know, what happened to these people beyond and the success they've built for themselves, that's a result of the system and their efforts and their level of personal growth and work ethic. So we can say, hey, yeah, we're proud we gave the invitation. That's the part we can take credit for. And that's our job every single day. So, and then Leigh's going to share some examples from literally in the last 90 days, prospects we've been talking to that some haven't even gotten started yet, but I think there's power in the examples of the yeses and nos for today's call, the actual prospecting. That's what you've got to go through type thing. So in the past, okay, we're going to go through a few examples of people. So Bianca's number one. She was actually a circle of influence of mine. And as you're listening to these examples, I want you to think about your own personal prospect list, people that you know, not just, oh, wow, Amy has this or Leigh has that. It's who do you know that could be similar and what aren't you doing to attract this person or to get in their space? So with Bianca, I went to school with her. We were not close friends. We knew of each other, like passing by. She happened to be on my social media list. She saw me put posts up of some results I was getting, and she reached out and said, can you help me? So I was working the method of social media, putting some posts up. That was my work. Simple, right? I engaged with my clients through people that liked and followed. And if you do that with everyone, you'll scoop some people up through there. She came down, I invited her down to catch up for a tea. And we caught up. We discussed a little bit about her life. I basically informed her, how's the family? What are you doing for work? What's happening outside of work? Where are you at? Where are you headed? You know, what are you planning to do? And I was talking to her based on just a general wanting to get to know Bianca. I wasn't trying to get her started on her program in that moment. I wanted to get to know her. Where's she headed? Where's she been? What are her plans? And through that, I was able to give her an intentional invitation to take a look at what we're doing. I didn't think or know at that time that she would want to pick up this business or whether she'd want to just work on her health. But from what she shared with me after just having her first child, her and her husband were looking for more things to do with their lifestyle. I said, well, hey, come take a look at what we're doing. There may be something of interest in it for you. That was really all I said. And she got to go and watch a presentation where people from this call, from this community, shared their testimonials, and that got her.
Now, remember what we were sharing before, it's our responsibility to connect the people to the event so that they can hear some testimonials on the products and in the business to solve their problems. So what they do and what they don't do isn't a result of us, it's what they want to do. So that's our responsibility to connect the contacts into the events.
Yeah. So if you reverse engineer that again, it was someone that I kind of knew at school, engaged on my social media, caught up for a tea. We had a genuine conversation, invited to an open house. So that's a tab team line with 2 other get team lines in that business.
And an active world team.
And an active world team. So if I look at the work I had to do to get that, it really came down to just a good catch up with a good friend, understanding her goals and giving an invitation into a presentation. And it was the right time, with the time to share the message, hey, take a look at what we're doing. So that I can take credit for, but what she chose to do after seeing the presentation, she had the desire, she had the goals, we had the plan, and we were able to work together from there. Stella's another one. So Stella used to be one of my personal training clients, someone that I worked with, I guess you could say. So think about your workplace. I personally messaged Stella on social media, Facebook back then. And I said, hey, Stella, how are you? What have you been doing? What have you been up to? She had just come back from an overseas trip. She'd stopped work. And I said, why don't we catch up? I would love to hear where you're headed, what your plans are. I'll bring you up to speed on what Leigh and I are doing right now as well. We caught up for a tea. I was able to share our message of what we were doing and invite her. She said, yeah, I'll come down and check out what you guys are up to. She came down, she saw a presentation, and basically same thing. She's now an active World Team member, and she's got an active World Team member in her business. And the effort from my end was just actually thinking about, who do I know? Reaching out, how are you? Let's catch up face to face and find out a little bit about them. I don't know really else to share about that, but a lot of that catch up was me being quiet and her talking. So, and then I was able to give an invitation to a presentation. So she was someone. Now we've got examples of people that have come in through referrals, where I might have been looking after a great client on the products who led us to a couple. This is Katie and Ryan, who came down to one of our fit clubs. So again, we're working multiple different methods, but through those methods, I'm always focused on who could actually join our organization. So with Katie and Ryan, they came down to the fit club. They happened to see the open house attached to that workout. And that event showed them more. And I was able to sit down with them about their goals, and they were able to build a global expansion team business. And I look at my effort, I'm like, I really nurtured a great client who was confident enough in me as a coach to give me some referrals where I could actually prospect those referrals as well, people I didn't yet know. So everyone can do this, but you've just got to be great, have a great attitude on all the time, and know that prospects are going to be coming through everywhere, and be on all the time. Because I could have easily taken that referral or not been a great coach and supported that person and missed that opportunity as well. Do you want to share the next two, like Sue and Dan?
Yeah, sure. So another active World Team line that's come through is Sue and Dan Rizzo. They worked with us, since the start, really. And guys, we got to World Team in our first month doing 16,000 personal volume. We personally purchased 10,000 ourselves, and then we found 2 people to do 3 each. So we had 59 ultimate programs hit our front door. Wouldn't recommend doing that. However, it did get us into action. So whatever your level of discomfort is to cause you to get moving, to talk to people, buy some inventory, get yourself moving, because without inventory, actually, you know what? It ain't ouch, because it's an attitude and it's a decision upon our goals and dreams to get to the President's Team. And that's what we did. So
if anyone's seen the movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, where Will Smith has all those machines, and then they stick them all. That was like our ultimate programs at Leigh's mum's front door. He's like, put them where I can see them, so they get out and they're gone by tomorrow.
Now, I'd walk out of the house every day with 4, right? So my objective every single day was anyone that looked at me had an ultimate program, every single person. So within 90 days, we had over 60 people eating our ultimate program. So not only did we get the initial investment back, we got the initial investment back plus 42% and qualified World Team for the World Team training coming out with Hemung Panda, which changed our life. So your decisions to get started in the business, in my opinion, will determine your attitude and your success long-term anyway. So if you do little things, you'll attract little things to you. That's my attitude.
Tell them about Dan.
So Dan Rizzo saw me with one of the ultimate programs, and he said, "Don't talk to me." I said, "No problem." But I still spoke to him, and he was the first guy I ever spoke to, and he said no for 3 years. So he's the right person, prospecting, seeing enough for the right people at the right time with enough time to share your message. Right person, not the right time, still shared my message. didn't move forward because it wasn't the right time. 3 years later, his wife was turning 40, needed to get in shape. We were a good example for 3 years. So he knew the product worked, he knew that the business worked, and he saw what we were doing. So therefore, the bada bing, bada boom, he calls me and says, my wife needs to call you. I said, no problem. She came down, she got on an ultimate program, and it wasn't the one that we purchased 3 years ago. When we first started, it was a new one because we always hold inventory. So she got started, got on the products, got great results. He got started, they qualify active world team, still in the business now, on their way to global expansion team. So you never know what's going to happen, but if you're holding inventory, you're going to attract people to you because you've got the message from the universe is consistent with what you're doing. So,
and you also, I guess, you put Dan on notice, because Dan said no in the beginning, but he was on notice, and Leigh didn't let that shake him. Dan was aware what we do, where we do it, and that we were the ones to call if and when the timing was right. So you can, that every prospect that says no to you, make sure that they know that if and when the timing's right for them, or someone that they know, that you're the person to call. It's like, hey, well, I'm going to give you my number. Can I have yours as well, or whatever it is? And you just make sure you're the loudest person for them, because someone that they know is going to need what you have, the services that we offer for health and business. And that one referral from Sue, his wife, then led to them both doing the business and their active world team going on global expansion team.
Another one was a guy called Daniel Sheridan. So we got invited to go to America to be the Mark and Gelati crew really early on into our piece. We came back, and again, I still had ultimate programs at home. So I was walking out of the house with 4 under each arm, and I walk into the gym, and I had filmed some of the workouts on my iPhone. And because we didn't have an open house or HOM and all that sort of stuff locally, I just showed him, I said, hey man, we're looking for key people that want to be making 15 grand a month in royalties, and this is what we're going to be setting up. And I just held the phone in front of him, and it went for about 90 seconds. And I said to him, if you're interested, you can try some products and we can go from there. And the next day he called me and he said, I'm in, let's do this thing. So I got him started in the gym. 4 days later, he was qualified supervisor. Now he's a global expansion team member with his partner, who's active world team, and they're building towards, get to 5 mil team together. So you never know who is going to do what in the beginning of your business, but I can guarantee if you've got enough people coming through the system, enough people coming through the pipeline, and you're not relying on the one because you're continuing to do the work, just watch what happens to your business, because it sets fire over time.
Yeah. And that's only 5 examples there. We've got pages of prospect lists of no's, and people that we spoke to that haven't replied, ignored messages. I look back at some of our old messages, I'm like, can't believe I wrote it that way. Like, we've definitely grown through the process, but that's the growth, is you have to throw yourself out there and start before you're ready. Like Leigh said, his message was, hey, this is what we're doing. Check this out, 90-second video. Are you in? That's not that. I mean, it's confidence is probably what it is. It's like, I'm going to do it anyway, which is actually the secret, because it's not what you say, but it's how you feel about what you're saying at the time that people are drawn to. You could have the worst message ever, the worst jumbled up set of words, but if you've got that level of confidence, that 30 seconds of courage, then you can actually attract that person into that courage to at least take a look. And then that's all you got to do.
And that's really what we're doing now. So coming back down to, I guess, what we're doing right now to build towards President's Team and set the foundations up for our 20K President's Team is exactly what we did right in the beginning when we got registered and started at the World Team. Now, we're not buying 10,000 volume, but we're doing the equivalent of that in activity. So let me explain. Amy and I got married in February this year. We went up to Queensland for a couple of days, put our feet in the sand, and we started to connect the dots on how we got to where we're at, but more importantly, the future vision for what we want within our organization and where we're heading, and the impact that we want to have in Australia and the Asia Pacific region and the globe. So once we got clear on that, we then thought, okay, we cannot do this by ourselves. Our current business is fantastic, but here's what this next chapter of our organization needs to look like. And then we just started thinking about, who do we know, number one, center of influence, and what types of people do we want to be doing it with, number two. So when we're out in the market, we're observational prospecting people that are consistent with the people that we want to be working with, because we're in select mode of the future organization that we're building. So let me explain. We had lunch at an Italian restaurant. There was a lady there. She was fit. She was active, had a great attitude, and she was a restaurant manager. Her name's Esther. All we said to Esther whilst we're having lunch was, Esther, you like to keep fit, don't you? She said, yeah, I do, in a Hungarian accent. I won't do that because I don't speak Hungarian too well.
It's very cool.
It is. It's unique. And she's like, yeah. And anyway, and our attitude is we have fun wherever we go, and we always engage with them in a space of fun and enthusiasm, because it's different in the marketplace. Most people just go there, oh, thanks for lunch. Esther, you like to keep fit, don't you? Yeah, I do. Hey, what do you do? She tells us, I'm an ex-professional dancer, blah, 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 blah. Hey, do you work here at Vapiano full time? I do. I'm the manager, da, 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 da. So we're understanding who she is and where she's at. And we just said to her then, hey, Esther, we're working on a local fitness and nutrition project, and we're looking for some key people here in the Gold Coast to help us establish it. Would you be open if we stayed connected and we can chat with you a little bit more depth about it? She said, sure, no problem. So boom, we get the contact and we leave it. 4 months later, 2 months later, 4 months is a long time. 2 months later, we re-engage, we set up a phone call, and things progress from there. And we had to sell her off another network marketing program to get onto a Herbalife program. And then she got registered. Her mum's angry now because her mum still uses the other nutrition program and wants her in that business, but she sees the power in the Herbalife marketing plan versus the other one.
And just a little secret, like she also tested the products and she's like, wow, like they actually work. So she was really blown away with her experience as well.
So another guy, his name's Navi. So Navi runs 3 local pizza shops. Now start to think about the traditional business owners that you know that have a wheelbarrow business. Requires them to show up, requires them to do the service, requires them to do the cleanup, requires them to come back the next day and be dissatisfied in what they're doing. So Navi, I get a pizza from him once a week, and yes, it's in my meal plan, it's macro counted. And I said to Navi one day, about 3 weeks ago, I said, Navi, I want to apologize for you because I've never explained my business to you. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I help people get in shape and generate a royalty-based income. It's a fitness and nutrition business. I know we've never spoken to you about it. And he said, that's okay. Come back next Thursday. So we did that. We went down, spoke to him, again, did our presentation. He said, sure, let's send me some more information. Now he's from India. So I pitched him on, let's set up a division in India and help you making 30 grand a month so that you can reduce your hours in your traditional pizza shops, because he owns 3 of them. And then you can spend more time with your kids and your family. He said, yeah, sure, that sounds great. So he got registered, in the process of placing his order, and who knows where that's going to go. Another guy called Jared, I shared about this the other week on the call. He was doing tricep push down machines. I walked over and said, Jared, are you an athlete? He's like, I'm not actually an athlete, I'm an electrician, but I like to train like an athlete. I said, I can tell, you look fantastic. Have you got a nutrition partner? He's like, no, I don't. I said, I'm looking for a couple of key people. We're going to be expanding our fitness and nutrition project. We're looking for some people that want to get in shape and generate a royalty-based income. Do you want to chat? He said, yeah, sure, let's stay connected. So our message never changes. Another guy called Emmanuel, I was getting my hair cut at my local barbershop. Now, if you're getting your hair cut at 10:30 on a Wednesday morning and you're in your mid-30s, the barber's going to be thinking, why is this guy not at work? So I go there, branded, jacked up, tee, ready to go. He starts cutting my hair. I didn't realize that he was a professional soccer player. I just asked him some questions. You look fit. What do you do? He says, I play professional soccer at IPR1. Great. Hey, listen, we should stay connected. My wife and I, we run a fitness and nutrition division. It's built on exercise, nutrition, goal setting, personal development. We should definitely stay connected because I think there's a bit of opportunity for you to do some work with us. He said, sure thing, no problem. And he said, hey, listen, as well, I think you should talk to my friend Michael. He would definitely be interested to talk to you. So then there's a line of 2.
We caught up at a cafe. We gave them a strong cup of tea. They loved it.
Jet black strong. Like it was like, oh.
They felt great. And now they're ordered their products just today. So they're now starting their nutrition, the couple, and they've already referred Emmanuel's mum. He's like, my mum needs this. And then Michael wants to get some extra product. He's like, I've got a couple mates at soccer that need to try this as well. So starting to get a bit happening. That was from Leigh getting a haircut, which I did say, I'm like, you need to get a haircut today, go get one. So I'm going to take part of that. But no, Leigh did
the attitude in the marketplace is be a little different.
Yeah.
Because different generates questions. So mid-30s, Wednesday morning, 10:30 a.m., what's this guy do for work? Because most people my age are at a full-time job or work in their business, you know what I mean? So that's that one. Another guy called Matthias, I gave him a sample of the CR7 at the smoothie bar. He came back. He said, man, this stuff's like rocket fuel. I said, hey, Matthias, we're looking for a couple of people. We're setting up a new division. It's particularly for athletes that want to work with Amy and I to get in shape so that they can train better, they can recover better, they can stay hydrated and make better decisions whilst they're playing through our nutrition plans. And second to that, we're going to be working with them to show them how to build a royalty-based business of upwards of $10,000 to $15,000 a month through introducing other athletes to us and our project. Would that be something you'd be interested to talk to us about? He said, sure thing. So a sample of CR7 led to a recruiting opportunity, which led to getting him registered, getting him on the products and starting now to build a line. So you never know, again, you just never know what's going to happen. But if you're chasing the business, the progression will follow your focus.
And I guess as we, I think we're almost summarizing here, but it's like Leigh sampled, guys. So if you think, what's Leigh's demo? Well, he was sampling, but it's the intention behind his sampling. That's the key. So you hear all these methods, the Fit Club, or I do road shows, or I hand out flyers, or I talk to people. That's all great. They'll all work, but it's the intention that you're approaching them with. So Leigh will do anything. He'll do any method. I'll do anything. Because it doesn't matter what method I'm doing. I'm actually doing the same job. I'm just looking for that next person to give an invitation to. I'm not getting caught up in the methodologies. Leigh's not getting caught up in, how do I sample and how do I make this fun and interesting? He doesn't care. He's not focused on the sampling. He's like, I'm focused on this guy, Matthias, who could be our next president's team member. If I've got a sample to talk to Matthias, I will sample. If I've got to go do this to talk to that person, I'll go do that. Like, it's who do you need to become in order to help the next person? And that's the change in yourself. You kind of got to get over the whole deal, and you've just got to do the job and talk to the person now, within it all.
In the process of getting yeses, you're also going to get no's. So don't be disheartened by the no's, because you've got to go through the no's to get the yeses. So you get paid on both. So our attitude is people are going to say yes and people are going to say no. That's up to them.
I actually said to him just today, because who was it? Montana didn't call us back, didn't show up to the next call. I said to him, it's about time you got a no, actually. He was on a bit of a streak for a week. And I said, it's actually about time you got a no. I'm actually, yes.
Because believe me, guys, my process and Amy's process is tight. Like, if you're coming back to us after our prospecting opportunities and the presentation and you're coming back, you're not coming back to ask questions. You're going to come back to sign and buy. Let's roll. That's how tight the structure is that we follow, because it's GK 101. And if you're moving away from the fundamentals of prospecting and recruiting and not getting results, my recommendation would be to master the fundamentals of prospecting and recruiting. Because if you master those two fundamentals, connect those people to the presentation, and they come back, they're not coming back to ask questions. They're coming back to sign and buy and get moving. So in the process of getting yes, you're also going to get no's. Montana, she said yes, checked out the information, then confirmed her Zoom call, and then didn't show up to the Zoom call. I waited 7 minutes and I thought, I'm out of here, too busy. But if I wasn't busy in progression with new people, I would have sat there and thought, what did I say wrong? What about this? And self-doubt could have kicked back in, but then Say wouldn't have signed up. Another athlete. Then a guy this afternoon, Liam, wouldn't say, I'm in, get me started. Do you understand, guys? So if you're getting hung up on the no's, you're not busy enough getting yeses. And if you're always getting yeses, at some point, just know you're going to get no's. So they both feed each other. You get paid on all of it. You've just got to do the work and find the joy in it.
Yeah. And I'll just say that, our client base right now, people that are just eating the products are people that some of them have said yes to the opportunity and just not really pursued it any further. So we are looking after clients as well, guys, don't get me wrong, but they're coming through the back end of the same message. They're people that say, yep, that sounds interesting. I'll get started. I'm in. And then based on whatever circumstances, they just might not want to actually follow through on what they said they were going to do, but they're nurtured as clients. Great. And sometimes when timing passes, they may come back in time. We have people inquire and get into gear at different times. We've been in the business long enough to see that to be true. It was told to us that would happen. But you've got to be around and keep doing this long enough to have someone call you back and go, hey, I think I'm ready for this now. But it's just because we've kept moving forward. So you don't ever burn any bridges. Everything's leaving on a good note. If someone says no, it's like, no problem, dude. If and when the timing's right, you know who to call. Hey, if you know anyone, make sure you get in contact with me because, yeah, we're building. Like, you just keep moving forward. And they say, like, I won't swear, but you know what I mean? Doesn't stick to a moving object. So you just keep moving forward.
And sometimes your best customer will come from a failed recruit. That's just reality. So you've got to roll with everything, keep moving forward. And I guess coming back down to what is driving the activity now is the decision that we made when we were in Queensland, where we're setting up the next phase of our leadership group. And again, get clarity around your next phase of your leadership group. What does it look like? Who do you need? Who do you want to be working with? Because when you have that clarity and you decide, our decision was to set the next chapter up of our business with some key people and bring 10 new frontline to the leadership development weekend. And next year at the Spectacular, bring 20 frontline. So there are our two checkpoints for our decision. And then the working plan is the checkpoints along the way.
And if you're not clear on what that looks like for, say, you personally, speak to your mentor, upline coach, whatever your next pin is, logically, you will be required to have X amount of producing supervisors to create that pin. So that the number's there for you. Just go back and figure out what that number is, and that's your number, and that's what you're looking for. And you don't need to find them all. You can start with 2, gets exciting with 1, and then you can start to build from there. So don't make it too complicated. We all need more supervisors that are working to build a business. It's really that simple. So as we summarize, guys, the philosophy, GK 101, we still listen to prospecting your way to presence team to get that into our subconscious.
Someone was in my car the other day and they're like, who is this?
It's great prospecting chat. But it's the first of the month. If you haven't got an active prospect list, if there's no names on your list, no one can mentor you. So we can't mentor zeros. You need to start putting some names on your list and you can actually start the process. It's like, ladies.
They're the ones that we're closing this week.
So it's like a handbag. You can't have a handbag and not put anything in it. Get a sheet of paper, get your list, write numbers 1 to 20 or whatever, 1 to 30, whatever you want to do. And at some point, you're going to have to put a name on that list from somewhere, your social media, your phone, whatever it is. Work that list however you choose to work it. Get in their space, online, offline, however you want to get contacting those people, and just start the process. Go get some no's, go get some yeses, and learn and adapt and evolve through that process so that you can start to bring in a whole new wave. And it's the first of the month. That's all we'll be focusing on for at least the first 10 days.
Guys, we're running out of time. I just want to say, Leigh, Amy, brilliant. For everybody on the call, what I want you to do in a minute is hang up and then dial straight back in, because our next call is the showcase into which Leigh and Amy, similar, put people into this event. And I want you to, certainly I want everybody on this next call, because Silke and Morgan are going to do a fantastic job. But I want you to honor what Leigh and Amy have just gone through, because what they've taught us now, literally the next step is to get people on this call. So you need to know exactly what you're going to be putting people into. So honor what they've just taught us by being on this next call. If you can make a couple of quick calls and say, listen, I'm sending you a Zoom link. You've all got the link. I'm sending you a Zoom link. Get on this call. That would be even better. But stay on the call. I think Morgan, just check. I think they've got to hang up and come back on, I'm assuming. Just say yes. Just say no.
Yes, correct.
Yes, they've got to hang up and then go back on, because the call starts in exactly 11 minutes. It's going to be fantastic. But first, Leigh, Amy, I don't know what to say, man. I ran out of space on my book. My hand is sore. Brilliant information, but so every single person on this call can do what Leigh and Amy have just taught us. And from the bottom of my heart, guys, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so proud to be just a tiny little bit of part of your journey towards President's Team. And I know on behalf of everybody in this call, brilliant stuff. Honor what they've said by being on this next call and getting people on these calls going forward. Thanks, guys. Leigh, Amy, thank you. Hang up, go straight back on. It's going to be a fantastic call in just a few minutes. Mwah.